And this time what I'm going to do is actually take it from my house down to where the water gathers and hopefully show you a better view of things and how it works to prevent flooding. And this is land sculpting that's very current in West Virginia, especially where I live in Berkeley County in the Eastern Panhandle. And it's been very, very successful at preventing flooding. We pay two monthly taxes. They're $17 every 6 months, and it's worth every penny because it saves property and it saves lives. So if you'll bear with me, I'm going to walk through this, and so we'll see it. Okay, here we go. If I can turn this around. Okay, it starts from here. So as you can see, there's my house, and in front of my house, it comes down, and everything channels here. There's my neighbor's property, so the water runs off from his property. He has a bunch of peach and apple trees. You might be able to see them. He's planted in the front, and so it runs down here. And this should always be kept clear. A lot of times homeowners don't get around to cleaning that out, and that's critical because the water will flow through there, and it'll be one even flow in a flood. And we've had where I'm standing right now. Okay, if you look at this right here, we've had 1 to 2 feet of water, but rather than it ending up in my basement or even on the first floor, the water is channeled from here, and I'm walking along. As you can see, there's the road, and it dips down about 5 feet from the road, and it moves down here. It's bermed, as you can see, and this berming right here keeps the water even inside this tract. It's like guardrails to keep it in here, and then it uh, is joined by the water that comes through here. And if you can see those three pipes, so there's a massive orchard over there. I don't know, 150, 160 acres. And so the water comes from there. And that's why those pipes have to be that large to be able to handle all the water. And if you can see it, there's North Mountain up there. And North Mountain is just one solid rock, like this kind of rock that you have right here. And so that North Mountain, all the water will fall in it and it will come straight down this road and it'll be channeled here. And you can see there's my house there. And again, as I said, if I didn't have that dug out and sculpted right there, that water could easily end up in my basement. But it never does because fortunately, the developer and I guess the county zoning people, when they put this together, they figured it out pretty well. I've never seen any water gather in my backyard. There's my backyard, pools over there, back deck. And so far, I've never had an issue with flooding. We've been here 4 years now, and we've had some pretty fierce storms, but it's never been an issue. Now, where I'm walking right now, these are common areas, which are, I think they're about 12 feet wide. And the water in a bad storm is going along here. And I know it's hard to imagine that, but it's similar. Anyone that's been out west, Wyoming, Nevada, New Mexico, Colorado, knows about dry creeks, dry rivers, and dry streams. And so you'll have that situation there where there's nothing, and then all of a sudden the clouds open up and you have a tremendous flood, an instant flood, really. Again, if you look at this, you can see this is channeled here so that it flows in there. I'm going to go across. Again, that's North Mountain up there where the majority of the water is going to come off. There are also, you can't see it, but there are other orchards and farms over here. And then the topography is such that all of the water comes this way, channels into here, and continues to flow. So again, you can see the three large culverts because they have to be that big to channel the water when it's really coming through here. And again, you can see the house is here. The elevation is probably 4 or 5 feet where I am right now, and the water continues to flow here. And again, it's coming off that mountain, North Mountain, which is a massive mountain in Berkeley County. It's the kind of the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains, and the cyclical flooding that happens in West Virginia is because of these mountain ranges, which are, as I said, solid rock. And then the settlement was always in the valleys because, of course, that's where it's easier to build and that's where it's closer to fresh water. And so you have an awful lot of old development in West Virginia that's in these flood zones. I actually have on my Substack, American Tactical Civil Defense. On my Substack, I have a whole post about cyclical flooding in West Virginia, and I dove into a lot of the data and how it works if you'd like to look it up. And I guess I should have said at the beginning of this, my name is Bruce Curley. I'm the volunteer vice president of the American Civil Defense Association. I've done that for 18 years. I've written about 17 articles for the Journal of Civil Defense. The latest articles concern cybersecurity, making your family safe, and also the dangers of floodwaters is the latest one in our sanitation issue. So as you can see, again, this is another one of these culverts that flows in. So you have two of them coming here, and then they'll go down. And that entire field that you see in front of me, that's the retention pond, and then there's a secondary retention pond. The first retention pond, as you can see, is about 2 or 3 feet down, and then the secondary retention pond is about 4 or 5 feet down. And so all the water gathers there, and then where that house is, that's a horse farm, and all the floodwaters flow into that. And so this was really well thought out. And again, as far as the dry creek goes, you can see the dry creek right there. If anybody's watching this from Wyoming or Nevada or places out west, the mountain states, you know what this kind of flooding is about, Arizona. So you have these dry creeks. This isn't completely dry yet, but you have these dry creeks that all of a sudden fill up, and it's an extreme danger. I mean, that's what just happened in Texas, right, where those children were killed by the floodwaters. That was very unnecessary. The adults bailed them, but that's not uncommon. We had a situation here just 8 months ago where there was flooding, and the public school principal waited for 2 hours to get the children out. And so they had to rush in 200 to 300 emergency personnel to get those children out in boats. And it was pretty scary. So it's something that needs to be planned for in advance. I don't know if you can see the topography here, but here I am in the primary retention pond. And now I'm going down gradually to the secondary retention pond. You can see it better over here. That's the side road. And that side road is elevated about 5 feet above the secondary retention pond. And I know it's hard to think of this as flooded. And probably actually what I should do is next time this floods, I'll do a video to show just how severe the flooding gets and how high the water gets. But everyone is safe, and our property is safe because they had the foresight when they built this development. That's the development I live in over there, to sculpt the land. As you can see how it comes down toward here. And so they bulldozed the land so that it naturally channels into this stream here. And then this stream channels into these two pipes up here, this culvert. And so no matter how high the water is, I've never seen any danger to anyone's property or to anyone's life because the water is channeled. And I actually got thinking about this with Starbase in Texas, and I wrote up an emergency operation plan, which was far easier than the ones I've done in the past because I used Grok, and they did a great job of coming up with all the uh, Brownsville laws and Chico laws and Texas laws, because Starbase is very exposed. Starbase sits right at the Gulf, and so when the next hurricane comes in, and the hurricane after that, it's going to interrupt the launch schedule of Starbase. So those starships won't be launching when you have hurricanes coming in, especially if that water is not rechanneled out. I wrote it up. I sent it to Elon Musk. God only knows if it'll get to him, but it would behoove him to read that, because he should have his emergency operations center in Starbase ready for that kind of flooding. And I think this kind of rechanneling the water tactic will work well for Starbase. So again, as you can see here, so there would be Route 4. They need to channel the water off Route 4, get it away from Starbase. And he has the boring company, so it's pretty easy for him to do. He could dig these tunnels out using the boring company. So hopefully this has helped. The video I did before was freezing and was interrupted in the middle. I don't know what happened there. This gives you a better view of the horse farm. And they have other things. They have pigs and steer and other things. But anyway, as you can see, there's a dry creek over there. But again, that's flat land. You can't see it because it's behind a farmhouse. But the flat land that goes over there, it's a huge field where the other horses eat the grass. And there's no danger to anyone. It's very similar to Pittsburgh. Uh, Pittsburgh used to have a terrible problem with flooding. And they were smart enough to make that downtown area where the Susquehanna, the Susquehanna and Monongahela rivers, and the Ohio River above it come in. And so downtown Pittsburgh used to always flood, but they were smart enough to move everybody off it, turn it into a city park. And now you don't have the damage to businesses, buildings, residences, and to the humans that they used to have. And so this principle of sculpting is a great principle and can really help. Again, I'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. It's a great time of year. I'm having a grand time with my children and my grandchildren. Hopefully you are with yours. And just to review, land sculpting can save lives. It can save property. And it's a mitigation tactic that has been used very successfully. So please consider it and let me know what you think of this. And again, Merry Christmas to everyone. Happy Hanukkah to our Jewish neighbors and friends. And let's make it better, okay? Always better. Now, again, if I could figure out how to get it out of this thing. Let's see.